Welcome into the show, everyone. Tonight, we're going to dive right into it. I have a very special guest joining the show tonight. Hendo, thank you for being here. How are you?
I am well in yourself.
Ooh, I've had better days, let's say that. And I'm sure everybody can see, when I'm not in my normal setup, I'm totally in a different location. So bear with me if we have any hiccups. But we're going to get through this live stream because we all need this therapy session after what we just witnessed today. I'm going to get through it as best I can. And I don't even have my notes. Usually I'm very, prepared with my notes. Today we're just going to freestyle it. How about that? All right, Hendo.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't even know where to start other than kind of talk me through how you were feeling after this game. Or let's start with not after. Let's start with how you were feeling during the game. Maybe first quarter, second quarter. What were your kind of thoughts?
To start the game, even just the first half of the game, I thought that it was a possibility that we could lose. Now, the defense in the first half was playing well. They held the Raiders to 4 yards rushing, 43 total yards, which was good on the defense, but the offense was struggling. Like they weren't cohesive. The offensive line was looking terrible to start the game once again. And it brought me back to week 3 of the 2023 season, where myself and my baby girl Jazz went to the game versus the Indianapolis Colts, and Gardner Minshew was the quarterback. Now, if you know the story, you know that Jasmine and I left that game with about a minute and 20 seconds left after the Ravens got a safety. And we're like, oh, man, they're about to get the kick. Minute 20 seconds left, game over. As we're leaving the stadium, people are running back, talking about we need to go back in. They tied the game up to go into overtime. And I'm like, it's impossible. They were just up with a minute and 20 seconds left getting the ball. So it took, once I saw that he did that last year, there was this talk and this thought that Gardner Minshew could come and do it again. And they did not look well in the first half. So even with the team struggling, and I think was it 6-6 or 9-6 at halftime, I felt that there was a possibility that we could lose this game because a question was brought up the other day on a program. Do the Baltimore Ravens have an identity? Are they a running team? Are they a passing team? Now, John Harbaugh will tell you that we love to run the ball. We are a rushing team, but we don't seem to run the ball effectively, nor in proper situations do we run the ball when we need to.
Okay. You just gave a lot to unpackage. And first, I want to say hello to everybody who has already joined in the chat. I see all of the regulars here tonight. Good evening. Thank you all so much for being here. I also see Megan in the house. Thank you, Megan. I know she's a Seahawks fan, but she also stands true to her Ravens as well. So I appreciate you being here. I see Coach, Zeke, Woo Pig Podcast, John R. There's so many people in here. Thank you all so much for joining. Hendo, you said a lot of good things.
Mm-hmm.
This was reminiscent of the game that you watched or witnessed last year, and it had a horrible ending.
Yes,
Now, fast forward a year, do you believe in when you know better, you do better? Do you believe in that saying?
I believe in that saying, but your head coach does not believe in that saying
Ooh,
because I've
wow.
done videos on this and I've said this before. Outside of the 2018 season, which was Lamar Jackson's rookie season, every year in the playoffs, the Baltimore Ravens get to the playoffs and forget their identity. They get to the playoffs and forget to run the ball. And some people come at me and be like, Hendo, but that's because Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson. And I say to them, 2022, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals with Tyler Huntley at quarterback. Baltimore Ravens at the 2 yard line, about to take the lead, probably shut the game down if they score this touchdown. So instead of running your 235-pound back or running J.K. Dobbins, who the Bengals couldn't stop at all, they decide to go for a quarterback sneak because the head coach does not have command of his team. And we forget our identity as a team, and we let them run amok and do what they need to do, and we lose the same way each and every season. So to say to know better, to do but you do better, Harbaugh does not do that because he should know by now. If we are a running team and this is our identity in the third quarter or fourth quarter, when it was the 3rd and 1, instead of running Derrick Henry, who in the second half found his groove, they want to get cute and do something with Charlie Kolar. We get a penalty, they move us back, we don't get the first down. So yeah, they know better. You know that and he said, listen, and him and his smug attitude, he said it earlier. Yeah, weren't we the number one rushing team over the last 3 seasons? He said that in the interview. He said that yesterday or today. And I'm sitting there looking at him like, yeah, we are. But when it matters the most, you're not doing it. So let's take the attitude down a little bit.
Yeah.
And how about you put what you preach into practice on the field?
Here's when you mentioned we deviate from our identity. What is our identity, right? I thought about it a lot during this off season. And when I saw that AFC championship game, I said to myself, and most of you know me, I'm an eternal optimist. I'm always going to try to see the glass half full. And I thought to myself, okay, we totally botched the opportunity with, I want to say, one of the best squads that we've had in a long time. And we had a really good chance of making it to the Super Bowl. But we deviated from our identity. And I said, you know what? After I got over it, which took me some time, I said, I don't expect to see us deviate from our identity in the next season. That was the kind of mindset I wanted to believe. Listen, I see the look you're giving me, but sometimes, you hear the saying, if you tell yourself a lie long enough, you'll probably start to believe it, right? And so I was really trying to convince myself. Did I have evidence to support that we would not deviate? No, I didn't. But I was really trying to be hopeful to say, we learned our lesson. And that's why I asked you, when you know better, you do better. We learned better. We should have known better before the AFC Championship, to be honest. But we made the same mistakes and we keep making them. So let me ask you, Hendo, talk to me about how you felt going into the second half of the game.
Well, first of all, I love to applaud your childlike innocence, your naivety, as far as believing that we are going to change some things, because we haven't changed it since Lamar Jackson's been a quarterback, because Harbaugh just puts it in his hands. But the way that I felt, especially going into the first drive of the second half, where they ran Derrick Henry 3 times
Yeah.
for, what did he have?
I'd have to pull up his stats. Chat, if you are watching this live on the chat,
32
drop it
yards.
in.
He had 32 yards. He had three
Okay.
carries for 32 yards. So
Yeah.
they started to establish the outside run game. And I think Coach
Yeah.
said in his stream, they started running the outside zone. And this is when they
Yes.
started to establish things. So once they did that, I said, oh, okay, listen, the Raiders can't score and they can't stop us. It's a wrap. This game is over. And I said in my Discord at a certain point when we were up 21-3, I said, oh, they can't stop us. Like, this game is a wrap. And I shouldn't have said that because I'm like, we're up 10 points. But there is a stat that I don't know if you know, that the Baltimore Ravens hold a piece of history. Since 2022, the Baltimore Ravens have blown 8 leads of double-digit possessions in the fourth quarter, which is the most in NFL history over that span of time.
Wow. There's nothing to brag about for sure.
Oh, I got a tip. Hold on. I'm sorry. I got a tip.
Yeah, thank you.
Shout out to 86 Ghost for the $50. He says, keep them rope powered lives coming and Owe can actually play a party. Listen, if you
We're gonna
notice,
talk about my guy. Don't you
listen,
worry.
I just want to let you know. I just want to let you know, Brandon, like, this isn't my live stream. This is her live stream. That's why I'm not really interacting, because we're on her eCam. So, I'm a slave to what she's got going on.
No,
But I
please.
appreciate the tip.
Thank you so much, B Squared. Thank you for that. And Hendo, please feel free to interact with anybody in the chat. And if
Well, I
you have
can't. Like, I
questions,
can't do anything on that. Like, I can't do anything with the chat. It's not
oh,
allowing me to.
you can just say it. Whatever you have. If
Okay.
there's a comment that you want to respond to, or if you have a question for either myself or for Hendo, please put a Q colon and then your question, and we'll make sure that we can answer it during the show. But this really is a vent session. You got to get it off your chest. We got to talk
Okay.
about. We got to talk about it.
Well, let's talk about another. Let's talk about. I'm sorry. Let's talk about another stat.
Okay.
The Las Vegas Raiders have lost their last 49 games when down by 10 plus points in the fourth quarter. 49 straight. And we
Until
were the
now.
team that said, and until now. So now the Ravens are 0-2. And since the league has expanded to that extra playoff team, only 2 teams out of 32 have come back from an 0-2 start to make the playoffs. Now, this is contingent upon us beating Dallas next week, because going 0-3 may be a death sentence. And right now, Cincinnati is up on Kansas City. So we play them in week 5. It may not be the cakewalk that we thought it was after seeing the Cincinnati Bengals during week 1.
You know, I try I try to stay calm and stay measured. And this is probably the most irritated that you're going to see from me because I'm really bothered tonight. And thank you.
Right.
I see you, Equip Institute. Florence, thank you for that. Yes, if you have a question, please use that format of Q colon. That really does help us. But when I hear the stats that you're mentioning, when I hear the stats that you're mentioning,
What's up, Brady?
it really makes me disheartened as a fan.
Right.
And I see Brodney. Thank you for being here, Brodney.
Shout out to Brady.
Shout out to Brodney. And my mom is here as well. Happy Sunday to you, Mom.
Hello, ma'am.
Brodney would like you to interact with him. So please make sure, Hendo, during the course of this show, you interact specifically with Brodney so he doesn't feel that you're not interacting with him.
Okay. Sorry, Brady.
Okay. As I was watching the game, I too got hopeful when we started the second half on a positive note, a really good drive. I said, just like you, okay, we're turning the corner. The tide is turning. We might have been a little rusty, a little shaky in the first half, but whatever they did during halftime, they were able to coach them up, and we're going to see something better.
Okay.
I held on to that for a little while, and shortly thereafter, it started to go south quickly.
Okay.
Hendo, I was so upset. I was so disappointed. I was almost just devastated because I've put so much hope into this team, and I didn't want to come to the final conclusion, and we are going to definitely get into it. Whose fault is this? Who do we blame for this loss? That's going to be the major question we're going to talk about tonight.
Okay.
I didn't really want to get into the blame game. I wanted to try and feel like, okay, nobody's perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. But let's face it. I'm going to ask the question now, and please weigh in the chat. If you are watching this on replay, thank you. Let me know, who do you think was at fault here? But before, and as the answers are coming in, Hendo, what are your thoughts about this offensive line?
It's offensive. It's
Okay, okay, I
offensive.
haven't heard that one.
Listen, listen. To be quite honest, and so I'm a person that believes if you're wrong, say you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? You own up to your mistakes. And it's just crazy because right before we got on here, I saw Garnett on Twitter. And he was like, I'm so disappointed in my boy EDC. Going the cheat route was not the way to go.
Mm,
And it's it's sad to see, and it's sad for us as fans, us as YouTubers, just people watching television, that they can see this experiment isn't going to work. Like we can clearly see as casuals that this isn't going to work. You can't take guys who have never started in the NFL. You can't take a guy who was a tackle and struggled at tackle and throw him in a guard and
guard.
expect him to play well. For me, it is a coaching decision that is mostly to blame. And EDC roster construction 100%, but John Harbaugh has to take blame also for not developing them. John Harbaugh also has to take accountability for seeing that for 2 games now, because before we were saying it's only week 1, calm down, it's going to get better. Seeing Falele struggle for 2 weeks in a row, and he is a major reason because when he gave up that sack to Lamar Jackson, that essentially sealed the deal for us. So
Right.
seeing that he has been struggling and not putting Ben Cleveland in, because Ben Cleveland is not on the injury report, they haven't said anything about him. So to me, for you not to put him in this game, we all know that John Harbaugh has a doghouse. And when you're in his doghouse, regardless if you can play or not, he is not going to play you. And he should be brought up on charges, knowing that Daniel Falele cannot block for Lamar Jackson, but you're not putting in anyone that can play even substantially better than he has. You going with Falele saying, well, trial by fire. Well, you are putting my quarterback at risk by doing this trial by fire. Like you said earlier, we just went to an AFC championship game last season. So the hopes of this season, and I kept saying it in videos, just the natural progression of Lamar Jackson and the Ravens each and every season is we go further and further in the playoffs each and every season. So the natural progression for this would have been us going to the Super Bowl. Then you come with this offensive line, not to mention, once again, shout out to Lunch Break Hot Take, defund the defense, all the money and assets that you allocate to the defense, and they can't stop a runny nose.
Oh gosh.
And I hate to say it, but where's Kyle Hamilton? And people kept saying, put Kyle Hamilton on Bowers. Oh, he got burned a couple times. I haven't
So
seen Kyle
tough.
Hamilton for 2 weeks. Now, has it been Kyle Hamilton, the player, or was it Mike McDonald, the scheme? And I understand you marry a bit of both of them together, but where has Kyle Hamilton been at?
Where's Roquan?
So, I mean, you tell me. So, you want to invest all of these things on defenses that have historically blown 10-point leads in the fourth quarter and second halves of games, but you want to continue to construct and get groceries for the defensive side of the ball. Make that make sense to me. But yet and still, you bargain bin shot for the offense and throw it together and collectively say, go out there and do what you can. I'm going to give you an antiquated offensive coordinator who did well in college. You got a bunch of college kids that go to one of the best colleges that paid the best players to come. Of course they're going to look great. But now that you're in the pros and you schematically have to put together a scheme, which I don't put all on Todd Monken, because no matter what offensive coordinator we brought in here, outside of Jim Caldwell and Gary Kubiak, they have to run a version of the Baltimore Ravens offense. And trying to put your scheme in and trying to run that myriad Baltimore Ravens offense, they don't mesh. And this is where we get that hodgepodge of run pass display, where we really don't know our identity, where we don't know what we're going to do from series in and series out. So a lot of this blame goes to coaching. It goes to the offensive line. It goes to EDC for construction. But most importantly, it goes to Steve Bisciotti for allowing John Harbaugh to coach this long for this team. Because any other coach in the NFL, if he had in 2019 and 2023 two of the best constructed rosters in the NFL and failed as poorly as he did, they would fire him. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl and they let him go. John Harbaugh has done nothing since 2012. And in the video, shameless plug, I told y'all in the video I put out on Thursday, John Harbaugh and his antics are going to lose us a game because of this. And in the first half and in the second half, two of the dumbest challenges you could ever see. Cost us 2 timeouts, just like the timeouts cost us last week against the Kansas City Chiefs. We could have used that timeout to give Lamar a chance to either run the ball or sit there and kind of look over the defense and see what they're doing and maybe win both of those games. So without coaching, we could possibly be 2-0 right now.
Oh, I'm going to give you my thoughts on this offensive line. I've been saying all off season that the offensive line is our Achilles heel. And to some degree, I was wrong. It's not our only Achilles heel. It's a lot of other things that we just don't really want to talk about because it's uncomfortable and it doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't sit right with you because you don't want some people, I'm speaking
I
some
know.
people don't want to call it what it is and say the truth of the matter is we're not a good team right now. We're not. And that starts all the way at the top to the very bottom. Do we have good players on our team? Yes, we do. Do we have the league two-time MVP on our team? Yes, we do. Do we have a couple of playmakers here and there on both sides of the ball? Yes, we do. But is that enough? Well, the answer was, we discovered that today and last week. And you made a comment, Hendo, that we've seen Falele struggle these last 2 weeks. I've seen Falele struggle all off season. I've seen Falele not improve since the preseason. And despite all of what we hear, that's why for me, what I read on Twitter, what I see in the media, I take it really with a grain of salt. Oh, the reporters are going to ask those questions during after practice. How's Falele looking? How's the O line? Everybody looks like they're gelling. Everybody looks like they're coming together. We're improving. We're getting better each and every single day. We're putting in the work. We're putting in the time. And I expect us to do excellent things this year. Oh,
Right.
okay, great. Well, then that quells all of our questions, right? Wrong, because we get to the actual game day, we look unprepared. Chat, let me know what, if you had to describe today's loss in one word, what would it be?
Typical.
Ooh, wow, Hendo.
Typical. We play down the competition. Point blank period. We play down the competition. It happens each and every season. Like there's the Colts game. Every time there's a game and there's competition where we just like we're gonna win. I don't even need to watch this game. We end up losing it. But I want to bring up another point as to we're gonna blame Harbaugh because to me he's never been a good coach. If it weren't for the players mutiny in 2012, we wouldn't have won that Super Bowl. So miss me with all that. But more importantly, I have a question for you, Yolanda.
Yeah.
Since everybody's been telling the negative crew that we've been called for our observations of the team over the last 2 years, tell me, since EDC been out here cooking with two rocks, how many of those draft picks that he drafted this year, how many are playing right now? He's banging two rocks together trying to make fire. He's trying
I
to
got
cook.
it. I
He's
got
trying to
it. Two
cook. For
rocks
those that
trying
didn't
to get
understand,
fire. I got it.
he's cooking with that. So how many
One.
of those?
One.
But he cooking in these,
Rosengarten.
right? But
Rosengarten.
he's cooking in these drafts, right?
He is not. The reality is, and it is unfortunate about Wiggins. He was in a car accident. That's not something that any of us prepared or planned for. It's not something that we could have anticipated. It happened.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, Adisa Isaac, Tez Walker,
Oh, I was told Tez Walker was about to be our number two wide receiver. I'm not gonna say who said that.
Devin Leary. You see where I'm going with this?
Hmm.
So I do not agree with the mindset that EDC is out here cooking. I do not agree with, oh, EDC nailed the draft. I like to table my conclusion until I see it in real time on the field. Yes, they might have been an excellent player in college. That may be. But either A, we don't use them because Harbaugh has a mentality of you've got to kind of earn it, with the exception of a couple of O linemen. So we saw, our center Tyler Linderbaum come in and, what is that face for? What happened?
I just looked at the score of the Kansas City game. There's 48 seconds left in the game, and Cincinnati is up by two.
And we couldn't beat. Do you know we couldn't beat the Chiefs? And do you know what narrative is going to be out there? Should the Chiefs lose to our division rival, and we were supposed to be the better team last year? Uh-oh. What happened? Let us know.
The Chiefs completed a pass, but it was a legal hands to the face on Wanye Morris. So they're bringing that back. It ain't looking good. So listen, if Joe Burrow ends up winning this game, so it's 4th and 16, 48 seconds left. If Joe Burrow ends up winning this game, he will be 4-1 versus Patrick Mahomes.
And we are 1-5.
See,
We are
fourth
one
and
and five,
16.
something like that. So,
But here's the thing. It's the regular season. Kansas City don't care about the regular season. It has no bearing on what's about to happen in the playoffs.
yeah, it sure doesn't, but it certainly puts things in perspective in terms
It
of
does.
where we are as a team and what we were not able to accomplish a week and 10 days ago versus what it looks like. Yes, I'm looking at my television too. What it looks like, Burrow might be able. Uh-oh. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, the Chiefs are getting bailed out. I see, Coach. Black Daniels, I see you. Thank you for joining. Thanks for being here. Devin Leary was a waste of a pick. He was.
Rasheen Ali, Adisa Isaac,
Yeah, I said Adisa. I said Devontae
TJ
and
Tampa, TJ
TJ
Tampa.
Tampa, Devin Leary. This is a problem. And either we learn how to draft better or we have to become extremely aggressive in free agency. But it can't be both. It can't be we don't draft well and then we do not get aggressive come free agency. We had no business allowing our offensive linemen, our O linemen, our veterans to leave and not have a plan to replace them. And if the plan was, oh, well, we will replace them with rookies, how much sense does that make? Which brings me to the point now, even though he's not a rookie, Daniel Falela. Let's get into it.
He is a
Sound
rookie
the
at
alarm.
guard.
He's a
He's a
rookie at
rookie at
guard. Yes,
guard,
he's technically a
technically.
rookie at guard, but yes, he's been in the league now, a few years. But rookie at guard. Sound the alarm in the chat. Let me know because I'm hoping that the Ravens are watching Hendo on from the Rogue Pod, his channel. I'm hoping they watch his channel today and they get an earful. Please let us know in the chat, what are your thoughts about Daniel Falele, week 2? Hendo, talk to me.
Daniel File. Listen, shout out to Daniel File. Man, listen,
Mm,
I grew up. So when I grew up a long time ago, and I grew up in a time when you had to be able to do your job to keep your job and get paid.
true.
Shout out to him for getting a job, a high paying job, and not knowing what the heck he's doing and still getting paid for it. Because Salah, it's a bunch of them that should not be on his team. But when you start dealing with egos and, well, I have to prove people wrong because sometimes EDC and sometimes John Harbaugh, they say things on their press conferences
Yeah.
that lets me know they're listening to the people out there
Mm-hmm.
and they hear us because certain comments that they make, it's like, oh, you heard that off of somebody's stream. But to prove that, oh, well, you know what, I have to give him a chance and hope that he gets better just to prove everybody else wrong. I said in my last video, the problem with those two are they think that they are smarter than everyone else. And
Mm,
they're out here trying to prove it instead of running a football team. We are the only football, 1 out of 32 that has a franchise quarterback that has a generational talent. I know that the young people throw that around a lot, but we have a generational talent at quarterback, and we decide to surround him with the cheapest things possible in hopes that he can make them
uh,
better than what they are. Now, after the first 2, maybe 3 seasons that you saw that this was not possible, you go out there and you do better. You saw in 2019 when he had a semi decent line and horrible skill position players, he
yeah.
still went out there and won an MVP, led the league in passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Now you said, okay, well, he did it without weapons around him. Let's try to do it without weapons and without an offensive line. Let's see if he can do it then.
Yeah.
And we tried it with Villanueva. It didn't work. He got hurt. So now we're back in the same situation. So the team doesn't learn. I thought, and it has been said, the Chiefs won. I
Oh,
thought I thought that when you pay a quarterback a bunch of money, you want to protect him as much as you can or as best as you can. I'm not saying that you have to go out there and get the highest priced offensive lineman. You surround him and get Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill, but you do something better than Rashad Bateman and Nelson Aguilar. You do something better than an Andrew Voorhees that you guys told me, oh, in college, he was so good. No, he was hurt in college. He was hurt coming into the pros, and he's essentially a rookie with no NFL experience.
yeah.
None. It's crazy when I used to try to do videos about Andrew Voorhees, I didn't even have tape or nor did I have pictures to get off the internet of him in uniform because there were none. But we're going to come in here and make this guy our starting guard. Then you say, you know what? That's not bad enough. We're going to bring somebody else in and put them at guard that has no experience here as well.
Yeah.
Then what we're going to do at right tackle is we're either going to put in a rookie or we're going to put in a swing guy who doesn't do anything well. They just plug him into positions and say, well, he's our utility guy. He doesn't do well at left tackle. He didn't do well at center. He's struggling at right tackle right now. So, what is this about the roster construction that has everybody like EDC out here doing his thing? Like, this was the dumbest thing in the world. Of all the positions that you want to ignore, this was not one of them.
No, no. Games are won and lost in the trenches. And this is one, or these are the position groups that you do not cut corners. You do not go cheapskate. You actually need to invest. You must have a balance of veterans. You can bring in rookies, and that's okay. Allow them to be rotational pieces. If we would have kept Zeitler at a minimum, and I would have said keep Zeitler and Moses. If we wanted to let Simpson go, that's fine. But at a minimum, keep Zeitler.
Yes,
Moses, I think, would have done better than what we're getting right now.
it's factually correct.
So whether we, thought Moses deserved a B, C, D last year, he would have certainly been better than the F that we are seeing right now. And to me, you keep Zeitler, you keep Moses. You want to draft a couple of players, or you want to continue to develop Falele. I don't know if there's much more development that's going to be because either you can move your feet, either you can stay in step, or you can't. And perhaps coach can weigh in on this because he's a coach and he knows this. Maybe it can improve, and maybe I need to relax and not worry too much about it. but it's
Mm,
not changing.
it
It's
can improve. It can
okay.
improve. This is only the second game.
Yeah,
It can improve, but it improves with time and it improves with experience. And one thing that helps is having an experienced person next to you.
yeah,
Now, great as our center is, Pro Bowl center, all pro type center,
yeah.
he's still only in his third year.
Third year.
His
That's right.
third year. So now you're putting two guys on the right side that don't have any experience, and you're throwing a guy in over on the other side, on the left side, that has no experience. So the communication is not going to be there. Now, it can come, and it may come later in the season. We don't know. But by that time, what is the team's record going to be? What is this team going to look like when this line finally finds its cohesion? And to me, it's a travesty because your boy EDC in his press conference said, "Oh yeah, we looking good for next year."
Right. And I think we might be.
What?
We might be setting ourselves up to look good, a year from now, two, five, who knows? But what about right now? What
Right?
about this season? What about not wasting any more of Lamar's precious years?
They don't care about Lamar.
Clear, they obviously don't, and that's being displayed and demonstrated time and time again. Um, I, my question, and I don't know that any of us have the answer. Where's Ben Cleveland? Why is he not in the game? It
He's in
doesn't get any,
the
it doesn't to
doghouse.
me it doesn't get worse than Falele at this time. Let's try something different.
Not even that. You're rotating your tackle.
Yeah,
Why aren't you rotating your
your
guard?
guard. That's right.
Because John Harbaugh and his ego, for
Ego.
whatever reason, it could be because Ben Cleveland for 2 years couldn't pass the conditioning test,
Hmm.
and he's holding this against him. My thing is this: like, if you're holding this against him, release him and let him go to another team and make his way. Don't just have him sitting on the bench watching this stuff go on. And the thing that is maddening and what upsets me the most is your boy tries to get smart about it and go into press conferences and is like, yeah, I don't know what they talking about. The offensive line looking good. And when I
Mm.
looked around the league at these other teams, they're going through the same struggles we are. They're not.
No, they're not.
But John Harbaugh is a liar. So
And let's talk about the other elephant. So there's several elephants in this room, but we're gonna talk about the other one, Makari.
what?
Makari.
What about him? Roger, now I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. Roger Rosengarten, through the progression of that game, got better. Like
He did.
towards the end, he was holding his own. And your head coach took him out the game and put Makari back in to struggle some more. Make that make sense.
It
But y'all
doesn't.
tell me he's a top five coach in the NFL. Since when?
He
He
might have
has
been
been no,
and at one time.
he has never. He came into the league in 2008 with a defensive roster that was one of the most dominant defenses over that decade. And I will say they went out and got Flacco, they went and got Derek Mason, they went and got Anquan Bolden. And then that defense carried us until the offense caught up. Then from 2013 to 2017, we're gonna call that BL before Lamar. Your man went 40-40 with one playoff appearance, one playoff win. 40-40. A lot of people are going to say, what was it, 2015 when we went 5-11? They're going to say, oh, because Joe Flacco got hurt. Joe Flacco got hurt in like week 10, week 11. We were already had a losing season when Joe Flacco went down. People
Right.
like to have built-in excuses for John Harbaugh. So don't be surprised if in the next upcoming weeks you hear about a phantom injury to somebody that we can use as an excuse as to why John Harbaugh is losing these games.
Yeah.
But that phantom injury isn't going to explain why you're challenging the dumbest calls on earth. And I think somebody was talking about it earlier, saying we don't get to see all the angles that they get to see from their view. Well, that makes it worse because if I'm seeing it from one angle and I can see that shouldn't be challenged, if you have 7 angles, shouldn't you have 7 reasons to say, no, we're not challenging this? And
Right.
those timeouts burn us in the end. Not to
Every
mention the lack of discipline that this team has.
yeah.
Since John Harbaugh has become the head coach of this team, penalty after penalty after stupid penalty
Oh.
that puts us in situations. The penalty on 3rd and 1 with Derrick Henry. If you would have just give him the ball,
Right.
maybe we wouldn't have been in that situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just a myriad of things. that this team is doing wrong. And I'm not trying to bash them. It's just a built up frustration of us doing the same thing over and over and all the fans out there expecting a different result. I'm not going to tell you what that is because I'm sure that you all know by now what it is, but we keep expecting different results with John Harbaugh as the head coach of this team. And a lot of people aren't going to like it. And a lot of people are going to make excuses as to why this isn't right and it isn't his fault. But it is his fault. You are the lead man. You brought in 25 different offensive coordinators because you can't seem to get it right. You are the man that did that. You're the man that is squandering Lamar Jackson's career because you decide to bring in offensive coordinators that don't accentuate Lamar Jackson's positives. You try to fit Lamar Jackson into your little Baltimore Ravens box and have him operate your offense. For the longest time when Joe Flacco was the quarterback of this team, we all know when you put Joe Flacco in a 2-minute offense, boop, 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 up and down the field. But then John Harbaugh like, no, let's go back to this West Coast thing. That wasn't who he was. He has an antiquated coaching system. He's not an offensive nor a defensive defensive minded coach.
No.
So he knows some. I would figure over 17 years that you would learn a couple things, but he doesn't know much. So he can't give input. But what you can do is you can question your coordinators. Like, bruh, what you think about calling on this one?
Where's
Charlie,
Cleveland? Put him
Charlie,
on.
Charlie Kolar. I mean, we used to do that with Mark Andrews, but you sure? I'm not liking that call. Let's do something a little bit different.
Let's change it up. Yeah.
But no, what he's gonna do is he's gonna sit back and let his coordinators do what they need to do, so he has another excuse as to why something didn't happen. This is why a lot of times on TV, I don't know if a lot of y'all notice this. Back in the day, he would always look at the camera and be like, "You want to go for it on the fourth down?
Mm-hmm.
You want to go for it?
He did.
You want to go for it?" So if it didn't work, he can say, "Well, I asked the players and they said they wanted to go for it. So what was I supposed to do instead of taking control as a man?" As the leader of this team and saying, you know what, we're going for it or we're not going for it. So he always has a fall guy. So he always has a scapegoat so he can look good. And why Steve Bisciotti does not understand that we get into situations and we play these lesser teams and these lesser teams look at the Baltimore Ravens because people keep saying, and Bradley says this all the time, there is no such thing as play like a Raven. There hasn't been that for a long time. But there is a new mantra for this team.
Uh-oh.
And the other teams come into Baltimore and they look at this team and they say, F around and find out. And in the end, we F around and we find out we aren't what we thought we were.
Oh, it's so deflating. It's so deflating. But the challenges, not knowing the blunders, not knowing when to challenge, the penalty, we don't look well coached. We don't look like a team that is a well-oiled machine. And Tanja, I see you in here. Thank you for joining. She said, Lamar said, he even said it, don't challenge it. And I saw him kind of like, throw the ball in frustration when he was like, why are you challenging that? It wasn't a catch.
But you know what? Not to absolve your head coach of anything. You know who I'm gonna put some of the blame on? Zay Flowers.
Why?
Because your coach is an idiot. And you're walking around the field. It's a catch. I caught it. He's walking around the field doing it. And a lot of times when coaches see players that demonstrative about things, they believe them. And I'm sitting here looking at Zay like, don't do that because he's gonna believe you.
He's going to believe
He's
you.
gonna believe you.
And he
And
did.
Lamar's like, don't do it. And there once again, we burnt another time out. So
Yeah.
yeah, Black. None of this is new, Black. It's
Yeah.
all old, and we keep having these conversations each and every season about some team that we should have beaten, some team that we should have blown out and rested our starters, or maybe tried some new things to see if they worked, some kind of experimentation. But we can't do it because we allow teams to come back. And don't get me started about y'all man Rashad Bateman. Lamar just need to let that dude just. And I was the one who was begging to draft Rashad Bateman. I was begging for him.
That's a whole
Now it's
nother
just
live
like,
stream. That's a whole
yeah.
nother live stream because we've already been on here for 39 minutes. If you are enjoying the revival of Hendo to these internet live
Whoa, whoa,
streets, go ahead and hit
whoa,
that thumbs up for me. Please make sure that
whoa.
you like the video, like the live stream. Let us know that you really appreciate seeing Hendo back on these
Nah.
live streams, sharing his opinion,
No,
speaking.
because I'm really angry right now.
You're what?
I'm really angry right now. No.
Oh, I know. And rightfully
John
so.
Harbaugh letting the crowd
Yeah,
incite him into doing something that he knows better. Like, when did you not sit back and say, you know what, babe, I'm real stupid. Like, I just keep challenging. I can't help myself. Like, he has an addiction. Like, he just has an addiction throwing that red flag. Because I know he has to go home. I know his father. And I know his father's probably one of the one person in his life that keeps it real. And it's like, son, you gotta stop.
Yeah.
You have to just stop throwing flags for no reason whatsoever.
Charles Harris, you're starting to think that Hendo wants Harbaugh gone. I wonder why you say that. What makes you say
Listen,
that?
Charles. I've been asking for John Harbaugh to be gone during the playoff run to the Super Bowl. When we won that game versus the Indianapolis Colts, I was like, oh no, we need to fire this dude. And I've been on that kick ever since then.
Mhm.
So it's not a now thing. Like a lot of people like to say, oh, we only lost 2 games. Why do you want John Harbaugh fired? I've been wanting him fired for years now. It's been 12 years.
I see you, Tanja and Danity. Glad to see you back, Hendo. Danity says yes. Hit the thumbs up. Give us a like on both live streams. Make sure you hit the thumbs up because let Hendo know that you want him to start live streaming again. That's it.
Yeah,
That's right.
not gonna do
Couple of
it. Not gonna
couple of
do it.
final couple of final questions, points to ponder before we land this plane. Chat, let me know. How are you feeling after this loss? Do you feel like obviously we're all upset. Most of us are pretty upset. But do you feel like this season is going to be, I don't want to say a waste because it's only week 2, and I know I'm going to have people come in the comment, calm down,
Right.
relax. It's just week 2. We still have a lot more season ahead of us. But just chat, let me know, how are you feeling in terms of an outlook for us, especially knowing that the next 2 games we play Dallas and then the Bengals.
No,
I'm
Buffalo.
sorry,
Then the Bengals.
Buffalo, and then the Bengals. How are
Right.
you feeling? How are you feeling, Hendo?
I'm not feeling well. I'm not feeling well. And the one thing I just heard this like not too long ago, and somebody said I questioned the front office and the coaching staff of the Baltimore Ravens football intelligence, and I was like,
Hmm.
how can you be in the NFL that long and not have football intelligence? But when you start dealing with nepotism, and you still start dealing with that old buddy network, you don't have to know your job. And it shows week after week. And if Lamar has not bailed this team out week in and week out, this team would look a lot worse than it did. And if this offensive line does not get itself together,
Ooh.
Lamar's going to get hurt, and we're going to have to see your man coach a team.
I know it's early. I recognize it's only week 2, and I don't want to be doom and gloom. But if we don't see a turnaround, and I mean fast, the outlook for our season does not look great. It's not very promising. I was listening to Coach Evans earlier. Make sure you go over and subscribe. He's right there on the cusp of 10,000. He might already
Like
have
20,
it.
like 25 away.
It was even less than that. I want to say
Was
maybe
it?
9, 10. It was
Oh,
his
really?
single, yes,
Okay.
during his call-in show. And so
Oh,
he might have already
might
made
have
it
hit
to the
it.
10,000. But even if he has, if you're not subscribed, go over and hit the subscribe button. But Coach Evans made a comment that teams going into a playoff, the likelihood of starting 0-2 and being able to come back from that and make your way into the playoffs, it's a difficult challenge. It's an uphill climb. Not to
Didn't
say
I
it's
just,
impossible.
I just told you 2 out of 32 teams have done it.
I know. That's why I say it's not, and that's what I'm saying. It's not impossible. It's not. But
Pretty
the
impossible.
likelihood of it happening for us, it's really starting to put the season in perspective.
Yeah.
And
But my
with the understand, I'll say this and I'll be done. With the understanding that the offensive line is, I would think, probably the hardest position group to improve at a rapid pace in terms of we need to get right before 7 days from now. We need to get right. We need to right the ship before next Sunday. I don't know that we can do it. I'm
why
hopeful, I'm trying to be, but I don't know that we
why
can
why do we need to get right?
because a lot of
Only Micah Parsons is coming in town. I mean, we're going to see. I'm sorry, we're going
we're
to
going
Jerry
to
World,
we're
right?
going to
It's only Micah Parsons. It's not like he could get 3 sacks.
and then the Buffalo Bills, followed by the Bengals,
Trey
who just
Hendrickson was
gave,
Trey Hendrickson was getting funky today.
Okay, I see Coach he's 3 away. Please take
Sip
2.5.
to sip to tally.
Sip to tally. Coach, if you will put exclamation point house in the chat, the Nightbot should drop a link to your channel and everyone can go direct. Just click on the link and go over. Get him to
Oh my.
10,000. What else?
Yes, please tonight. Let's get
Tonight,
Coach.
like do
He
it
should
right
he should
now,
have he should have been at 10,000. So please, if you can do anything for us,
please.
please get Coach to 10,000.
It'll make us feel better after this
First of
miserable
all, first of
loss.
all, I'm not gonna feel better because you know what I just thought about.
What is that?
We have T.J. Watt twice and we have Miles Garrett twice.
Yes, we do. We know that though. I mean, that's
No, no, no,
every
no. That's
year.
just yeah. But you think, but every year we don't have to think about three positions being suspect. Three every year we don't have to think about, oh man, is this the play that's going to get Lamar killed? Because listen, I knew Max Crosby was going to be a problem
Huge problem.
just
And we had
because
no answer for him. No
just
answer.
because he is relentless. This dude for the majority of the season, he plays every snap
Yeah.
of every game. His motor is that high.
Yes.
And they had to block him with three people sometimes. That's not going to work when you play a team that has multiple pass rushers. You
Right.
can't put three people on one guy. You can't put three people on TJ Watt and think that Alonzo Highsmith and Haywood isn't going to go out there and get Lamar. Like, you can't do these things. So listen, if we don't see Ben Cleveland being mentioned as a participant of practicing with the starters this week, I honestly think that Steve Bisciotti needs to really think about what he needs to do for a head coach. Because if we go 0-3, this is a conversation that needs to be had. Because I'm very realistic in my expectation in sports. Very realistic. I understand you can't win a championship every year unless your name's Tom Brady. I understand that sometimes the better team does not always win. But when you put yourself in circumstances where you never win, because yes, regular season, this team does fantastic. Like, we do very well regular season. We win 10, 12, 14 games every year. But in the playoffs, we're normally one and done.
Yeah.
And how does that work out? And how do you make that, how do you say that that is successful? Because if you were running a business and I was your employee, and every year I helped you gain a profit margin of $2 million every year, that $2 million is cool for you. But each and every year you're expecting an increase. You're expecting that profit margin to be greater and greater each and every season. So after a while, that 2 million is cool, but it's just not going to get it done for you as a business owner. And you're going to find and replace me with somebody else that can make you more money for your business. So the Ravens need to find someone, one of these younger offensive geniuses that knows how to utilize Lamar Jackson, because defense is not the way to win championships. We are showing this. We are showing we can't hold leads against teams that had 43 total yards in a half. 43 yards. And to end the game, Gardner Minshew had 276 yards passing. I thought this was a no-fly zone because all offseason in my Twitters and my mentions and all this other stuff, man, we got the no-fly zone. Ain't nobody passing on us. Gardner Minshew passed for 276.
It's really terrible. It's very, very bad.
Bobby Slow, I'll take Bobby Slowick in a heartbeat.
Whoever at this point,
He's
anybody.
the offensive he's the offensive coordinator for the Houston
For
Texans.
the right, and I'm saying anybody. I'll take anybody
Right.
at this point.
But we could have had these guys. We could have had Sean McVay. We could have had a Matt LaFleur back in the day.
Yeah.
We could have had these great offensive minds, but John Harbaugh was the one that said, I will never hire anyone that could possibly take my job because I'm that insecure as a man.
Thank you, Florence, for subscribing to Coach Evans. We
Appreciate you.
appreciate it. We
Appreciate you.
do. We
So
do.
just at two more? Two more?
We just need two more. If you will go over, if you are not subscribed already, head
Listen,
over
I,
to
I
Coach
I
Evans
know I know some of you guys have multiple YouTube accounts. Go to that second channel
and make sure you're
and go subscribe to Coach.
yeah.
Or you have a significant other, a child's account,
Yeah.
somebody. Listen, we support each other around here. Even those that we don't agree with. If you are a Ravens content creator, we support you. We just don't agree with you.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Because we're toxic, as we're called for telling the truth. And that's just their way of saying I hate being wrong, and I'm not man or woman enough to say that I'm wrong. So I'm just gonna deflect.
Yeah.
But
What I
I got
want to
another
say.
tip. I got another tip.
Oh, yes, please. Thank you.
Shout out to KP for the dollar tip. It says, out of all the years, why would EDC choose the year after the AFC Championship and MVP QB to make a brand new O line out of junkyard scraps? I just can't fathom it. I wonder if he just doesn't care about the season and sees it as a throwaway. Nope. And shout out to TJ Forney for subscribing.
Subscribing. Thank you,
Appreciate you. So
TJ.
what? So the reason that he did this is because once again he thought, and I understand the concept of it because Zeitler was getting a little bit older. Morgan Moses didn't fit what Todd Monken is running, and John Simpson just particularly wasn't good. You can't really throw money at him because we didn't have any money.
Yeah.
But your man thought that he could put together a bunch of guys and they were actually going to work because Lamar makes offensive linemen look a lot better than they really are. And he was going to look like a genius. This is what he thought. But my thought was when you got into OTAs and mini camps and training camp and realized they ain't doing it,
Ugh.
this is when you go out and make a move. Because I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting on the Purple Patrol that told me wait till June 1st cuts. Wait till the roster
Yeah.
goes from 93 to 53
Yeah.
that the Ravens were going to make a move. I'm still waiting for those moves to be made because I told y'all you can't wait on somebody else's junk to make yourself a competitive team.
Oh, we did
Did you
it.
do it?
Thank
You did
you.
it?
We did. I think so.
Congratulations.
Yay. Oh, let me
Congratulations, coach.
now if I hit the wrong button, y'all bear with me. But here you go. Thank you all so much. Oh,
All
this
right.
is so nice. This is
And
so great. Thank you.
it is wonderful. Congratulations, coach. And I don't mean to be greedy. I don't mean to be greedy. But if y'all could do me two more favors, just two more favors. One, get Yolanda to 1,000. We need to get Yolanda to 1,000, and we need to get LBHT to 2,000. So it's LBHT show, 2,000 subscribers.
Yes.
Listen. If y'all want real unbiased opinions, you come see us. If you want the fluff and the sunshine and it's all sunshine and rainbows, you go to those other people. We're going to tell you stuff as we see it. I am unapologetic in the things that I see. My experiences growing up may give me a different outlook than other people. So I report things the way that I see them. Am I always right? I am not. Do I believe that my opinions are fact? I do not. But I'm going to tell you that 99% of the time I am right. See, she knows. Tell me, Yolanda, 99% of the time I'm right. But
Most of the time, Hendo
people just
is
like to say, "Oh, you're just being negative. Why don't you go find a new team?" No, why don't you go find a
okay.
new head coach and a new GM?
Jose, if you are still in the chat, if
Or
you will
no,
head over
Bridie's
to
here.
or Rodney, sorry. Well, I just need one of
10
them.
short. Bridie
I
needs 10
just
people.
I just need one of them to head over to my stream and type in exclamation because it doesn't work if you're in Hendo's. It's the bot that's on my stream. So either Jose or Rodney, if one of you will pop over to my stream, type in exclamation point house. The link to your channel will be dropped in the chat, and then people can go over and subscribe to you and get you to that 2,000 mark. We got to do it tonight, especially
Tonight.
because we have Hendo back. And I know you
No, we
all
don't have
missed
Hendo back.
him
Listen,
in the
I'm going
last
to say
stream.
I'm going to say this. There is normally a silver lining in everything. Yes, the Baltimore Ravens lost, but we got coached to 10,000. And possibly we are on the way. I am so proud. Like I may go for a run after this. We are on the road to finding a new head coach.
Wait, I thought you were going to say you're on the way to 5K because
I'm not
Hendo
worried
is
about me.
really
I ain't
close.
worried about me. I'm not worried
Hendo's
about
really
me.
close, so he's close to
Hi, Nana.
inching up onto 5K. So hi Nana, how are you? Thanks for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yes, lunch break hot take just joined. If you are not subscribed, there is the link to their channel. Thank you for that.
Shout out.
I want to land this plane, but before we do, there was a little bit of positive in this game.
Okay.
Hendo, so you know where I'm going with this. There was a little bit of positive about this game. I know we've ragged on our team, and rightfully so. They absolutely deserved it. But there was a positive takeaway. Hendo, I want to hear from you. Was there anything that stood out to you in a positive way about this game?
Yes. Two things. One, they finally decided to do something with Derrick Henry and actually get him rolling. Even though I know someone asked why did the Baltimore Ravens sign him in the first place because he was cheap, but he did. have 18 carries for 84 yards. 18 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown. They did get him rolling. The second thing that I will say that was a positive was Zay Flowers had 7 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown. I think the chemistry between he and Lamar is starting to grow, and Zay is proving that he could possibly be that number one wide receiver that we are missing. It is just sad that he does not have a teammate to go beside him to take some of that coverage from him. I don't know what happened with them taking out Isaiah Likely for like 2.5 quarters. But of course, Yolanda is alluding to Odafe Owe and his 2.5 sacks.
Wait, wait,
Owe,
wait. Okay, wait. I got to do a horn thing. Wait, give me a sec. I'm not supposed to tell you guys what I'm going to do anyway, but I'm going to do it anyway. Odafe Owe. See, I'm not really good with the whole sound effects thing, but I'm going to get there. But yes, Odafe Owe. 2.5 sacks. And if we want to be generous, just go ahead and round that thing on up to three. Let's just do it for my guy. But no, on paper, 2.5 sacks. I am so proud of him today. He was great. I was really pleased with him. Happy to see it. Whew, it's been a long time coming.
do
But
you,
he
do you
showed
want
up today, Agnes, just like you said. What were you going to say, Hendo?
do you want to know the future, or do you want to wait?
Let's
You want to know the future, or do you want to wait?
um go ahead.
Okay, like I told you before, and this is really
I
parallel
know
to
what
one
you're going to
another.
say.
This is really parallel to one another. I
Mhm.
told you before the season, Owe and Ojabo were going to perform pretty well.
Yep, and
And they're
Price
going to
felt
perform outstanding next season and
yeah,
price themselves out of Baltimore. So
yes.
in 2 years, we're going to be looking for 2 new edge rushers because the Baltimore Ravens aren't going to re-sign them. So happy for Owe. He's about to make himself a lot of money. It's just not going to be in Baltimore.
That's right. Well, I mean, I want him to stay, but I can't argue with that. I want us to, and yes, Davon, I see you in the chat.
What's up? What's up,
Davon said
Cuzzo?
he said he heard me all the way in South Carolina screaming after every Odafe away play. You know I did. You know I did. We are going to, close the stream, wrap this up, but thank you so much to everyone who joined, and a huge thank you to all of you who subscribed to Lunch Break Hot Take tonight and who also subscribed to Coach Evans to get him over that 10,000 subscriber mark. That is such a blessing, and I'm grateful to each one of you. Flock, we have a long way to go. We have a lot of work to do.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
This is new to me because
Okay.
I've never done this before. But shout out to Ray Kingdom for the $2 super chat. It says, "I am peeved. I understand how you feeling, Hendo. Appreciate you for the $2. This is
Thank
my
you.
first time. This is my first time doing the super chat thing. So
Oh, you're doing it right. Yeah, it came up. It's displaying.
did
Good.
it? Did it
It
really?
does. Yeah, KP
Oh, okay.
just, and you just got another one, KP. KP just tipped it.
Okay, that's all right. Shout
Thank
out
you.
Osama bin Harbaugh
Oh, that's
is
terrible.
committing heinous acts against this team. He must be stopped at all costs. I understand that a poor season would mean he's more likely to leave, but that would also mean another year of Lamar's prime wasted. All right, so this is the quandary that we're in. We have to say, all right, if we have a very poor season and we miss the playoffs, we've squandered another year of Lamar's career. And that's what a lot of people said. If we let go of John Harbaugh, what are we going to get as coaching? We don't know if we're going to get a good coach, we're going to get a bad coach. But I tell you this right now, we have just squandered 6 years of Lamar's career.
We have. We have.
And we're doing it for the seventh year. So getting rid of him or falling short, we're going to fall short regardless because the offensive system that we're running does not work in the playoffs. Derrick Henry is cool, but to be quite honest, we looked this porous versus a Las Vegas Raiders team. That is not a good team. So when you get to the playoffs, the play is ramped up. You have to be tighter. Like you have to execute properly in the playoffs to advance to a Super Bowl. Can we get to the playoffs and win a playoff game? Of course we can.
Yes.
But do we have a team right now that is constructed to make it to a Super Bowl and win it? We do not. So technically, as of right now, the season is wasted already. Why not cut bait and bring somebody in here that can utilize and get the best out of Lamar? Listen, keep Zach Orr around, let him learn. He's only going to get better and learn how to make the calls. Kyle Hamilton's going to come around. Roquan's going to come around. Hopefully, Nate Wiggins is going to come in and contribute to the team. Brandon Stevens is going to get better. But the thing that we're lacking and we're going to continue to lack is offensive cohesion. Todd Monken, he tried. I will say Todd Monken tries to an extent to do the quick game because he knows that the offensive line isn't working. But sometimes he still gets into that habit of those long development routes, knowing that this team can't block. And if we are the number one rushing team in the NFL, rush the damn ball. Do that. 3rd and 1, run the ball. We're sitting here in the second half getting chunk plays. Derrick Henry is a volume type back, and we all know this. The more you give him the ball, the better he gets. The less people want to tackle. Even with the little bit of the carries he had in the second half, they didn't want to tackle him. And your best offense was to, let's try to throw the ball. Let's try to get cute. Let's have Charlie. Let's have our third string tight end come in and do a sneak.
It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. So we have a lot, as I said before, we have a lot of work to do. There are a lot of questions looming over this team. We do
So does that
not
mean
look,
you coming back tomorrow night to answer these questions?
we very well may. Thank you all
Wait a
so
minute. I
much
didn't say
for
we.
joining
I
us
said
tonight.
ye.
Thank you all so much. I see you, David Hunt. Thank you for being here. Agnes, thank you. Everyone, I appreciate you all coming by,
She'll be here tomorrow.
allowing us to have a space where we can vent and talk about the things that we don't like to talk about, which is the state of our team right now. It's just doesn't look good.
Oh,
And
whoa, whoa, whoa. Sorry. You pay Lamar Jackson, so that's most of your money right there. So how you going to bill when you paid your quarterback? So okay.
oh,
So Lamar Jackson, you paid your quarterback. Yes. Explain to me now, just for kicks and giggles, explain to me how the Los Angeles Rams paid Matt Stafford, Cooper Cup, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald. I can't remember his name. He went to Buffalo, then he went to somewhere else. How did they pay all of those people and went to a Super Bowl? How are the Dolphins paying all of these people? How are the 49ers paying all of these people? But I don't hear you talking about a $98 million defensive tackle. I don't hear you talking about a $98 million cornerback who's burnt. I don't hear you talking about a $70 million safety. But of course, it's talk about Lamar Jackson.
right,
This is the price. This is the price that you have to pay in the NFL today. Franchise quarterbacks cost money, but other teams find ways to be fiscally responsible enough to put a team around them.
yeah,
They don't put money into positions that don't really matter too much. You don't see people out here paying $70 million for a safety. You don't see people paying $98 million for a defensive tackle unless they're on Aaron Donald's type level. You don't see people paying, I forgot the $100 million inside linebacker.
right.
I forgot about that. You're not talking about all of these people that are being paid. You bring it back to the quarterback. Now, okay, let's take it back before then. What happened during Lamar's first 5 years when they weren't paying him? What did they put around him? His first 5 years when he was on his rookie contract, because I know when you go to San Francisco, you're gonna say Brock Purdy's on his rookie deal. What did they put around Lamar on his rookie deal? Since we want to go and blame the quarterback for these things, when he had his rookie deal, what did Eric DaCosta and his cooking almost cursed putting his
Thank
hibachi out
you.
there?
Thank
What was he
you.
cooking on within? When Lamar had he was the 32nd pick in the NFL, so his contract was not that big. Appreciate you for the subscription. His contract was not that big. So when it wasn't, what did the EDC put around him? Or did he invest more money into a defense that didn't stop anybody
Right.
in blue leagues
And the fact that he is now a two-time league MVP
without the weapons?
without the weapons and is constantly expected to do more with less. James, I will say that yes, we have paid him and he deserves it. And what we need to do as an organization, as a franchise, is learn to better manage our funds so that we are able to equally distribute our resources. And that's how you pay your quarterback his due, but still have enough to go around.
Oh,
Ladies,
how about not giving an extension to a wide receiver that can't stay healthy? How about paying $3 million to a wide receiver that had 300 yards in 17 games last year? How about that? How about investing in a running back that costs less money but does more? Because Saquon Barkley against the cap is counting less than Derrick Henry is, and he's looking a little bit better right now. So let's not talk about Lamar Jackson and blame him for what he is getting. Because what was he supposed to do? Take less? I'm 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 75% of your offense, but I'm supposed to take less money for you to invest more in your defense? Heck no. I'm your leading passer. I'm your leading rusher.
that's it.
Even after 2 games, who's the Baltimore Ravens leading rusher?
Lamar Jackson.
What did he rush for today? 20 yards?
I think so. Somewhere
about
in the
approximately
20,
20
in the
yards, and
approximately.
and
He's
he's still the
still
team's leading
leading
rusher.
because of what he had to do last week. That's
But
why.
I'm supposed to take less money.
No, absolutely not. I disagree. I disagree.
Yeah, that's right, Lamar. Blackout. Talk about taking less money. We don't do that around here. Don't
No,
turn down
but
nothing but our collars. Y'all bringing out the West Baltimore on me.
uh-oh, uh-oh. Well, that means we are going to say goodnight.
Time to
Thank
go.
you. That's what it means. Thank you,
I'm just
ladies.
playing. It's,
Uh,
listen, no, it's listen. I'm sorry. I'm just playing. It's all the discussion. All of this
yeah,
is a discussion, and for the people that are new here, I just wanted to let you guys know this is a safe space, and we debate here and we talk about things. But as long as you're respectful, ain't nothing wrong with it.
yeah,
And the one thing that you're going to get here that you're not going to get elsewhere is no matter what your opinion is, whether you're on this side of the fence or that side of the fence, we are not going to come at you nor get combative with you because you
yeah,
believe a certain way. Unlike some channels that if you don't talk the talk that they're talking, supporting that the organization that's backing them, they want to say some nasty things about you. So we don't do that over here.
yeah.
And I'm done.
Ladies, ladies and gentlemen, I know today we all felt upset, angry, mad, just like this. That's how we felt today. I know.
Dang, Ra-
I
dang,
know.
Rave Kingdom, that's how we feel.
But but
That's
we
how
are
we
going
feel, Rave Kingdom.
but we are going to have to find a way to rally behind our team, the good and the very, very not so good.
Appreciate you, Bronze.
So thank you very much, Bronze. Thank you. So
Appreciate it.
we are
Hey,
going to
Rave
say good.
King, she the only one on the screen, bro. I'm hurt. My feelings are hurt. I'm a sensitive person. My feelings hurt.
He was saying, great stream for having such a wonderful, wonderful co-host join the show tonight. Thank you very much.
I'm not a co-host. I'm a visitor.
Ah, no. But Hendo, thank you so
Yes, ma'am.
much for being here, for joining the show. Would you please let everyone know where they can find you and what you have going on here and YouTube?
You can find me on the Road Pod on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. I do videos throughout the week. And please go back to last week's video and it says we need to have an honest conversation about the Baltimore Ravens. Note that I was the first one to talk about this before this time, and it will tell you a lot of things that you need to know, and it will have given you a preview into the game today. But it is an honest conversation, and it does not come from a place of bias. It comes from actual facts. So if you could please go check out that video for me, like if you like what I'm saying to you, subscribe. If not, I just appreciate you for watching it.
Yep, absolutely. And Ferris asked, what was
Appreciate you,
that?
David.
Thank you. These are my angry faces. I was upset. I was mad. And so that's what that is. And Ferris is like, what was that? That's an
Like,
angry face. Anyway, we are going to
he
say
just
goodnight.
he just wants you
We're,
to do it. He just wants you to do it again. That's all.
oh, okay. Well, I fell for it. We are going to say goodnight. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe.
I know, Raven. I'm just playing with
Take care of
you.
yourselves. Stay safe. We will see you back very soon. Keep your heads up.
Indeed,
Okay.
indeed. Thank you all for hanging out with us.
Thank you. Good night.